I would like to call to order the regular Township Board meeting for Chesterfield Township for Tuesday, May 12th, 2026 at 7 p.m. to order. Would you all please stand, face the flag, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3, roll call. Clerk Berry, could you please call the roll? Treasurer Elliott is at conference this week.
Supervisor Kirsten.
Here.
Trustee Anderson.
Here.
Trustee Joseph.
Here.
Trustee Hornberger. Here. Trustee Vosberg. Here. Clerk Berry is here.
Item 4, approval of agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Trustee Vosberg,
Second.
supported by Clerk Berry. Discussion. Clerk Berry, would you call the roll?
Trustee Vosberg.
Aye.
Clerk Berry, aye. Trustee Anderson.
Aye.
Trustee Joseph.
Aye.
Trustee Hornberger.
Aye.
Supervisor Kirsten.
Aye. Item 5, presentations. We have none scheduled tonight. Item 6, department reports. We have 2 scheduled tonight. We'll start out with Director Vannerson.
Good evening. I do want to give an update on the Brandenburg Park passes. Following the board's update to allow free entry for Brandenburg Park in 2026, we've had a significant increase in foot traffic at the community center. Pass distribution began on May 1st, and as of this afternoon, we had over 800 residents retrieve their free pass. It's my hope that we see this number reflected in the park visitors this year at Brandenburg. Starting Memorial Day weekend, the park will have staffed entry, as well as the opening of the splash pad from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. Weather permitting, of course. Brandenburg Park has new playscapes, pickleball courts, tennis courts, a 530-foot fishing pier, rentable pavilions, and a popular boat launch for our residents and more to enjoy. As a reminder for residents, in order to obtain your free season pass to Brandenburg Park, you will need to bring proof of residency along with your license plate number to the Chesterfield Community Center at 48400 Sugarbush. Non-residents can purchase a season pass for $35, and daily pass entry to the park for anyone without a season pass is $10 for this year. One highlight of the residents picking out their season pass at the community center is that many are visiting for the first time or learning more about what we do there. Our staff are happy to showcase the space, including the fitness center and play cafe for preschool students, that's available anytime the building is open. We started noticing some of the repeat comments as residents were coming in, so our staff started emailing back and forth those messages. This is the best thing that I've done all week. I didn't go a lot in the past, but I will now. We are new to Chesterfield, and we can't wait to check out Brandenburg Park. One even was making sure that it wasn't a scam because it seemed too good of a deal to get a free pass for the year. We did confirm it was not a scam, and it did happen. Overall, very positive responses and overwhelming. It's such a great thing for Chesterfield is the message that we keep hearing. So thank you to the board for your support and access for parks and recreation spaces. About our visioning sessions coming up for the millage. As we move forward in the ballot proposal on August 4th for the Parks and Recreation millage proposal, the current phase we are in is the public feedback section. Next sessions are hosted on Tuesday, May 19th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. and then again an evening session from 5 to 6:30 p.m., both hosted at the Chesterfield Community Center. There are more dates available in the coming months, as well as online surveys that are available on the Township website. Please come and share ideas on the future of the parks recreation facilities in Chesterfield Township. These events are designed to be an open house forum where your ideas will be heard. Residents can arrive anytime during the event to see what we have planned for the August 4th, 2026 Parks and Recreation millage proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Mr. Sonnenberg, it's all yours.
Good evening. Just wanted to provide a real quick update in regards to the gates at Brandenburg Park for the board and the residents. As you know, we've put the automatic gates in at Brandenburg at the entry points and exit points. and those gates arms have been up until now. Tomorrow, we plan to actually start closing those gates and exercising those gates. The plan is to close the gates at 10 o'clock at night and open them back up at 5. So if you're in the parks when the gates close, you can still drive up to the exit gates, they'll still open. But the idea is to kind of limit traffic after hours. So we're going to start going through the process of testing the new software by exercising the gates. Tomorrow night will be the first night they'll close, and they should open up at 5 in the morning. If we have a couple hiccups as you drive into the park, there's a call box. We want to let people know when you push that call box, it goes to a couple of our facility phones directly and also to dispatch. So there will be someone answering that call box if there's a problem at the gate, but 9 times out of 10, there should be a staff attendant there during the day. So it's just at night. We just want to let the residents know if you see those gates closed, they will be flashing red at night. And it's just part of our planned exercise to see how those gates work and how they function at night over the next couple of days. So if you have any problems or any issues or any concerns, please just give us a call. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any comments from board member? Trustee Anderson.
Thank you. A few comments from our most recent Public Safety Advisory Committee meeting of May 9th. There were 24 interviews for cadet, police, and fighter positions conducted by the departments. There's 12 background checks in process. Police Sergeants Lee and Sapon have graduated from the Northwestern University Staff and Command course. Cadet orientation is scheduled for May 26. 5 cadets are graduating from the Oakland Police Academy on May 29th. The Fire Department review team conducted an on-site assessment of our department and our township between May 3rd and the 8th. The accreditation of our fire department will be evaluated and the decisions will be made in Chicago August. There's only like 4% of departments have qualified so far, so we're in good company if things are successful. And again, I'm sure Trustee Joseph will also mention that the Chesterfield Township Police Department open house is scheduled for May 16th from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Joseph.
Thank you, Supervisor Kirsten. Just to add on to our, some things that were also covered at our public safety, the board approved construction for the gym at the station has started. The hope is that the project will be completed by June. Captain McNair will keep us updated. The Autumn Lakes subdivision fireworks will be coming to the board. That has never been a problem and was investigated again this year. As Trustee Anderson mentioned, our open house is May 16th from 12 to 3. Couple of repairs to the structure. Parking lot is in need of a couple of fixes. The vendor who installed that is out working, as well as the replacement of some carpet. The unfortunate nature of our self-insured policy with patrol vehicles. We did have a vehicle that was involved in a crash. It was a total loss. The officer was not at fault. This was unavoidable on the officer's part. That we're unsure at this point how much of the build-out equipment can be taken from that vehicle and put into the new. The difficulty is the build times. We still don't have vehicles that we approved some time ago in operation yet, so there's considerable lag time from the approval and the purchase and the actual ability to use it within the fleet. I think that covers our public safety. If I could move quickly into the other committee assignment that I have, which was our senior advisory meeting, which was held last night. Director Vanderson updated the seniors, and a couple of things that I really wanted to share. The feedback on the visioning, the first visioning session, as Ms. Vanderson touched upon, unfortunately, we still have, a few individuals who used it as an opportunity to voice objection to the millage. And the visioning sessions are really not about a debate as to whether or not the millage should or shouldn't be, or whether or not the board should have approved it. It's really an opportunity for residents to come forward, learn a little bit about the park system. One of the things that was passed out last night, and Ms. Vanderson, I'm assuming these are available at the community center, but there's a very, very nice brochure that was put together. It's really just pretty good sized page, front and back. There's some information in here that I think almost everybody who's looked at it was, wow, I didn't realize that you could kayak or fish from this particular park. And what the Parks and Rec staff did is they put together a map with locations of each park. They're numbered, and then there's a graph that lays out all of the amenities at each park. So the on-site parking, whether or not the facility has permanent restrooms or portable restrooms, walking trails, paved or bike paths, whether or not the facility has a playscape, kayak access, boat launch, rentable spaces, picnic area, shade structures, indoor rooms, sports facilities, or a fishing area. And each one of the 14 park properties are listed and itemized, along with some information about the where, when, and what the next visioning sessions are. The face sheet incorporates the expected revenue generated by the proposed millage. For those who are unaware, our assessing department estimates that the 1 mil annual millage for the parks will generate about $2.5 million of revenue to support the proposed improvements. Also listed are the enhancements that the board anticipates being able to go forward with the extra revenue should the millage pass. Again, the opportunity to discuss these and other ideas that residents may have for the improvement of the parks is available at these visioning sessions. The seniors report back that there has been really incredible feedback regarding programming and the opportunity for increased programming should the millage be successful. The discussions about the incorporation of senior involvement with the sort of reconstituted Beautification Commission was very, very positive. If you recall, we had a young person that came to the board late last year, Nick Kirby, who was interested in putting together a routine cleanup crew. What he has partnered with Parks and Rec and the Beautification Commission, and we'll have some more details, but he would like to start every Saturday. He will meet with his volunteers, and they will target various areas of the township. We're in the sort of beginning stages of the organization, but Mr. Kirby is really an exceptional young person, and he's taken on this project. So, and then lastly, the Beautification Commission has working to incorporate a number of projects around the township. One is a vegetable garden that will go in here at the township office. There is also a flower garden which will be planted at the community center, and then the butterfly garden that was initially sort of planted and has unfortunately not had a lot of upkeep will be sort of reinvigorated, and they intend to work on the butterfly garden over at Brandenburg. couple of other issues that just had to do with programming. But once again, the seniors were very, very positive, especially about the online registration. That has been a contentious issue with outings being filled maybe too heavily with non-residents. Our new online registration allows for residents to have first crack at it, I guess, and that's really a testament to the Parks and Rec staff to get that system operational. It's very complicated, but they managed to make it work, and the seniors were very, very appreciative, said that the online registration was very, very user-friendly, and they appreciated all the improvements and look positively to see some more. So thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you. Clerk Perry?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. First and foremost, Wednesday, May the 20th, from 4 to 7 p.m., we will be hosting here at the Township offices the first late night or weeknight shred day. Usually, this event, our community shred day, is held during the day. Feedback that we've gotten over the years, and we have had hundreds of people participate in that program. One of the parts of the feedback we had were we'd prefer if you did it on a weekend or after hours so that more people can participate, those who work and so on. And so in response to that demand, we have scheduled our first weeknight or after hours shred day. That will be here at the Township offices Wednesday, May 20th, again from 4 to 7 p.m. You can go onto our website and register for that, although registration is not necessary. However, if you do register for that event, that ensures that even if you come and we're getting to the end of the line, that you won't be turned away. So we only have the truck for so long, and in the event that perhaps you're running late or you're just in the back of the line, we'll make sure if you have a reservation that we take care of your secure shredding of your documents for you. Also, last week I was at a conference for OpenGov. OpenGov is the cutting edge municipal government management system. And this is a program or a platform that is really the next generation of municipal governance software. It utilizes AI technology. It's able to have capabilities that we don't have today, particularly in the areas of financial planning as well as with workforce planning, and being able to integrate all of those elements under one roof. It's really a very impressive platform, again, utilizing a lot of modern technology and even some things that most of the public is unaware of they are working on, which is unusual because normally my experience is that government is kind of behind most of private enterprise. In this case, they really are really on the cutting edge. A lot of people from very technologically advanced communities, areas of the country were there. However, we did have multiple Michigan municipalities that are migrating and looking to move forward, particularly the more forward-thinking ones, the ones that are have technological bases in place that they're looking to enhance their resident experience. It allows for more user friendliness as far as the end user, which is all of our residents and the public. It offers a lot, and it offers it at less of a cost than traditional systems. I will say my assessment overall is that we're just not ready for it yet. We don't have a lot of the different elements quite aligned yet here in Chesterfield to be able to take advantage of that. And of course, you know, there needs to be a buy-in for that type of endeavor. It's quite a tremendous undertaking when you go to migrate from systems. However, I'm very happy to provide my fellow board members with all of the information that was given to me, just so that you're kind of aware of what the next generation of managing municipal governance, where it's headed. And some of our contemporaries here in Michigan, the city of Southfield, has already begun implementation of this. They utilize all of the same software platforms we currently do, BS&A for their payroll, UKG for timekeeping, and Laserfish and a couple of other ones. So they mirror us very much in terms of how they are currently doing things. And so it's kind of nice to know that we have a local neighbor who is already making that first kind of transition and step forward. So in the event in the future, we decide that that's something that we want to be able to provide for our management here and our planning. The planning tools, the analytics are absolutely fantastic. Nothing even comes close to what they can do with analytics. Again, that's something we haven't really begun to integrate here yet, but in the future we may choose to do that. So again, I have that information available for anyone who would like it. Just ask. Thank you.
Thank you. Operated from our local data center, eh?
No, it doesn't mean
Right. Just real quick from the supervisor's office, we're going to be heading to Lansing with our surrounding communities, the House bill legislation that, the housing legislation slate that has been talked about. We will be in Lansing Tuesday with, again, our surrounding communities to object and to oppose to those at their governance hearing, so, or their operations hearing. So just a quick note on that, and we'll keep you informed, trustees, by email as to the status of how that progresses. I'll move on to item 7, public comments on agenda items only. There's a 3-minute time limit. If you would please state your name, not required, just so we can keep track. Nope, this is just comments on the agenda in front of you. You're on number, I think you want number 12.
James Lott, Sutton Road, Chesterfield, Michigan. Item D on the consent agenda, Department Services for pump for detention ponds. I notice it's always the same company we get all our pumps from. It's hard for me to believe this is the only pump company in the United States that we can purchase pumps from. This never seems to go out for bid. It's always just call them, get a pump, pay whatever they ask. I think some of this should be going out for bids. Item A on the consent regular agenda. When did we change our operating procedure here of making budget adjustments every 6 months and at the end of the year? Now we're doing it every quarterly now. When did this all change? In fact, I've noticed that just about every meeting this month, anytime there's been an item purchased that was above the budgeted cost, there's been a budget adjustment for it. So why are we doing a quarterly adjustment or 6-month adjustment or any adjustment? I mean, ever since this new Woodhill group took over, everything's totally out of whack, whatever goes for that day or this week. You have no consistency. You know? Special event, item D, for Brandenburg Park. You know, you're asking us for a mill to cover Parks and Rec. Yet you keep giving the park away to people at no charge. You got firemen coming over for their picnics and that out of Dearborn. They can go to Camp Dearborn. Why are we giving everything away? You know? Then you got here for the classroom for the school this fall. $25,000. That $25,000 is going to barely cover the lights, the power, the heating, the janitorial service. You know, you bought this rec center, you're doing things to this rec center and with it, but we're not making a cent out of it. All you're doing is spending money. Part of that $1 million, $2.5 million is going to be to fix the building. That's all you're doing is spending money. You know, you're giving things away for nothing. You know, when did this township become a charity for the state, for the county? You know? And also on the agenda is the item about the engineering services. How come that never goes out for bid? Same 4 engineering companies that we've had, you're getting again. All you're doing is
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
John Speaka, Chesterfield Township. Stop the wasteful spending. This township became a charity when Supervisor Kirsten became supervisor, so we're a charity on all aspects. We got to stop the wasteful spending. Supervisor Kirsten, Kathy Vosberg, Pam Hornberger, and David Joseph. You're supporting an agenda that's not beneficial to the residents. You're asking for 8 pages of budget amendments. This board is wasting our tax dollars and overspending. You're asking for budget amendments because you can't live within your means. You're overspending. You got a supervisor that puts out a balanced budget, deceives the residents because he knows it's not really a balanced budget. He's going to come to this board quarterly and ask for budget amendments, and you guys are going to lay down and give it to him because you're spineless. And you're going to put the burden on the residents and the young residents and young families growing up in this community. How is that fair? Budget amendments were intended for emergency purposes only. Yeah, you can shake your head, Dave. That's what they were intended for. Yeah. And I think you know that. And I want to thank Cindy Berry for sharing that open conference that she was at. There were a couple board members. I know Trustee Joseph said that he looked at all the conferences and he couldn't find any. So thank you for sharing that with the residents. Some of us appreciate the feedback. The other question that I have is on the contract. This board's going to vote to approve a construction on Sutton Road on a water main to Palmer Enterprise. Is there any connection to that, to the old supervisor, Mr. Accavetti, that was here? I'm just curious if there's any affiliation with this company and him, or if you could answer that, I'd appreciate it. And you're asking for $1 million from the residents for a community center. You're calling it a visionary thing. Well, a visionary thing should work both ways. If you want to hear, you should hear what the other side wants to say and what their vision is of the community center. It's not a one-way street, even though you want to play it as a one-way street. It doesn't work that way. If you're asking for one opinion, you need to get the other side's opinion on what their vision is for this township. Thank you.
Any further comments from the public? Any further comments? Move on to item 8, the consent agenda. Clerk Berry.
All items under the consent agenda are considered routine by the board and will be enacted in one motion. There is no separate discussion of these items. If discussion of any item is required by a board member, it will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. A, approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting of April 28th, 2026. B, approval of the payroll register report for week ending April 22nd, 2026. C, approval of the payment of bills as submitted by the Finance Department. And D, approve a recommendation by Department of Public Service to approve requisition number 26-18276 for an amount not to exceed $37,258 for Kennedy Industries quote number 007-0284 for the replacement of a Wincheste Donner subdivision detention pond pump.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Motion by Clerk Berry. Is there any support? Support. Trustee Vosberg, discussion? I have a motion by Clerk Berry, supported by Trustee Vosberg, to approve the consent agenda as read. If you would, please cast your votes. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 9, public hearing. There are no public hearings scheduled tonight. We'll move to item 10, the regular agenda. Item 10A. Clerk Berry.
Item 10A is to approve a recommendation by the Finance Department to make Quarter 1 amendments to the 2026 budget.
Is Supervisor Kirsten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support?
Support.
Trustee Joseph will support it. Discussion. Mr. Adair, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Board, for having me again this evening. I am here to give you a brief overview of these budget amendments. Before I do, I wanted to get into just a very brief synopsis of why we're here tonight. So when the budget is passed, I always call it a living document. It's ironically printed on paper, but as Clerk Barry saw at the OpenGov presentation she went to, and as you see in our current software in BSNA, it is truly something that is in flux every day, not necessarily based off of the budget numbers that you passed back in November, but on what's happening every single day in this organization, and whether or not we're going to come in ahead of budget, over budget, and in both cases, both the good news and the bad, we want to know why that is. It helps us plan better for the future. It also helps the organization have a better picture for what it needs to do today to prepare for that future that may be a little different than it thought it was going to be. And then most importantly to the process is by correcting course, we're able to make next year's budget better, of course, but then also understand the why we had to make those adjustments. And the sooner we do that, the better. So coming forward to you on a quarterly basis allows us to, especially this first quarter, allows us to look at two main items. One, things that happened since the budget passed that we didn't know were going to happen, or that we knew were going to happen, but we didn't really have accurate numbers that we could put in the budget at the time. The biggest one you see before you tonight, hitting just about every fund in the township, was the labor contracts. As you know, HR Director Mastrado was working very diligently during Q4 last year and into January of this year, getting the entire labor force, all the collective bargaining agreements in the township settled. All of those expired at the end of the year. We had a 4% projection in the funds for labor increases. That was not enough, and that's what you're seeing here today. Not all the number you're seeing today of the budget amendments for related to contract changes were for truly additional salaries. In that number, of course, is also benefits. In that number is also one-time items, such as signing bonuses. I would draw your attention to the general fund, for example. There was $167,929 of new labor-related budget amendments in the general fund. We specifically broke out labor-related from other amendments to call attention to that very significant item, as you can imagine. $82,000 of that $167,000 number was from signing bonuses. Those are one-time numbers. They will not repeat next year. It's very important to note that. For each fund, we showed a few key items here. We showed your total revenue adjustments. We showed your adjustments as a result of contracts, and then the non-contract related adjustments. So I can go through each fund if you would like, if you've had a chance to review and you want me to just answer questions. What I can say briefly is that each of these amendments are needed and that they do reflect, again, like I previously covered, either items we didn't know about or didn't have clear numbers for last fall when we brought you the budget in November, or again, with maybe things that we didn't know about at all. That is the basis for the amendments you see tonight. I don't expect them to be as significant, knowing that we've just settled contracts for the next 3 years. I wouldn't anticipate this volume of transactions each quarter. And that is in part, of course, because every time an action item is brought before you that requires additional funding, it's only right, if you're doing your personal finances, if you're going to put a roof on the house, you need to have a budget to do it ahead of time. So it's the same idea. We come forward with a new contract. We ask for approval for that contract, and at the same time, we ask for the budget amendment. So that's what we're doing here to offset the need for the volume of this going forward. And with that, I'm ready to proceed through each fund if you would like me to, or just take your questions. Up to you.
I have none, Steve. Then again, thank you since you've been on board. You've altered and changed the way we are doing business, and it is in a more practical, standard, policy-driven directive. And as we get better at this in developing our future budgets, which we are going to continue to do, the weekly meetings with you and the conversations I have with you and understanding this, nothing but appreciation and respect for you. So I'll leave it up to the board members. Again, Steve and I, every day he's here, we're talking. If there's any questions from the board. Trustee Bossberg, all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Thank you, Steve, for all the work in that. One of the things that I do appreciate is the comprehensive thing. It's including everything. I don't remember seeing all of the various grant income, the donations and grants and things that we receive. A lot of times it may be in there, but it's just in that half-year report, and then it would be a total. It wouldn't schedule it out per project. So I think that it's just much more transparent in how we're doing it. And I also appreciate, I believe your intent is that we should be, if there's any spending required, and it does require budget amendment, to do it at the same time. Is that correct?
That's
As
correct.
practical?
Yeah, that's correct. And one of the big items that we've been working on the last couple of weeks with the clerk's office is adding finance to the approval pathing in the electronic program that's used to build these agenda items, so that your accounting coordinator in the township and myself both have access to each agenda item as they're coming through. That will allow us to be able to review in real time and say, okay, there's enough budget, you don't need a budget amendment for this item, or you do for this item. And we can also have discussions, most importantly, to everybody here, I think, in this room, about budget transfers. We don't want to just add to the budget by default. If we can find the money, I mentioned at the very beginning of my comments, under budget, the good news, we can use that to pay for what otherwise might just be an amendment if you're looking at something in a vacuum, so to speak. So it's just a good budget practice, gives us time to diligently go through the information and get it right the first time and build a more conscientious budget for the township.
So what you're referring to right now, I think, is that where a certain department might want to change? They were going to spend $50,000 on supplies. Instead, they're going to spend 40 and move the 10 over to something else. They might be
Correct,
doing,
yeah.
which doesn't technically require a budget amendment at the fund level, because that's already been approved, but again, another level of transparency showing. how
Correct,
things have
yeah,
changed.
and there is a budget transfer process in the township already. It's just being able to have that discussion before it comes here. We want to make sure that this board is seeing the business of the township that it needs to see, of course, for true budget transfers, where it's just being transferred between line items in the same cost center you approved. There's no need for that to come forward then. Yep.
Any further questions from the board? Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I just wanted to address a couple of things. I think Trustee Vosberg touched on them. When we make quarterly budget adjustments, as opposed to, some of our past practices, which were just by default, we were, passing agenda items. If there wasn't a budgeted, we just added to the budget and we reconciled it, as we began the next year's budget. This system, quarterly, despite the, haphazard claims and we're doing things willy-nilly with it. This was talked about at the passage of the budget back in November when we began to discuss the passage of the 2026 budget, which we're obligated to do. We talked about one of the big things, which was the contracts, the labor contracts, and the board's passage of the implementation of Public Act 152. So that was a monumental change to our employees that were really addressed during the contract negotiation phase. So the one time, we called it a signing bonus, but really it was a market adjustment in terms of being able to compensate our employees without having them to go, out of pocket for the increased burden of health care. So when we talk about a quarterly budget amendment, it could be the first quarter, we're recognizing increased spending. that wasn't anticipated in November because the contracts weren't resolved. And even the beauty of the public square and the podium is even the dimmest among us can come forward and hurl insults, but those same individuals that were calling people spineless tonight, in November, they were talking about there's no amount of money that should be spared to take care of our public safety and our first responders. And the emphasis on the board, I think, if I recall, one of the conversations was that if, you know, I was bleeding out and I needed emergency, what would I think about if I had denied this contract, you know, to the first responders? So there was quite a show at the podium. Now tonight, the budget amendment process, which increases transparency, is referred to as those who vote for it as spineless. It's really difficult to understand. Well, it's not really, but the budget amendment process that we do quarterly increases transparency, and it reflects, as Trustee Vosberg said, the changes in the budget that we didn't anticipate needing X amount of dollars, or we didn't anticipate the revenue that came in. We can make these budget adjustments and let the residents know every 3 months, as opposed to just, you know, being surprised at the end. So I appreciate all the work that's done, that's gone into the process, and I like getting on top of these budget amendments rather than have it, you know, big surprise at the end of the year. We spent too much in this area. We didn't anticipate this revenue in that area. Now we can keep contemporaneously, you know, on top of the agenda items that are passed, and it's a much better and much more transparent system. So thank you.
Absolutely. And I would emphasize and add to that, that as I mentioned at the beginning of my comments, this is the other reason to what was being touched on there with the quarterly updates and per event updates in the case of some of the action items coming before you. The goal here is, as we start to get into the 27 budget that we're doing, literally after this meeting, the budget calendar starts. We've already done an initial CIP meeting, a capital plan meeting, and we are now moving forward with actually building out projections, which I think maybe has informally been done before, but never in BSNA software. We're going to utilize that so the department heads have a better idea of where they're heading and what they need to be asking for next year, more or less. This is all made possible by having these meetings with the departments that we've had here in Q1 come forward to you tonight, do these amendments now, gives us a better picture of where 26 is. And if we know where 26 is heading, then we have a better ability to budget 27.
I may have stepped away, and I think you may have touched it. This also addresses the revenue changes and increases that
Absolutely.
reflect it also.
Yeah.
So this isn't just all expense. This is a substantial increase in revenue. So again, thank you very much. Any further comments? I have a motion by Supervisor Kirsten, supported by Trustee Joseph, to approve item 10A. If you would please cast your votes. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Thank you very much, Steve.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow. Item 10B.
Item 10B is to approve a request for the transfer of a Class C liquor license with Sunday sales permit for the Art House Paint and Sip LLC located at 52370 Gratiot Avenue, Chesterfield, Michigan 48051, and approve resolution number 2026-20.
Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Supervisor, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Clerk Berry, supported by Trustee Anderson. Discussion, I know the applicant is here. Do you just want to introduce yourself? You can.
Sorry. My name is Yusuf Haddad. We just came to the community about 3 months ago. The paint house, it's actually the paint house Art and Sip. It kind of was mixed up on the document. But we are an instructor-led painting facility where they can enjoy a cup of either beer or wine, essentially. And then, yeah. But we've been operating for 3 months. Now we're looking to bring in the liquor license to scale to the next level.
Welcome to the township. Any questions from the board? Trustee Anderson?
I just hope you, we had such an operation a few years ago. I hope you stick around with us for a while.
Yeah, of course.
Clerk Barry?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just so the board and the public are aware, the Clerk's Department does receive a letter from the state of Michigan letting us know that conditional a license or a transfer has been requested. The township does not have any authority to actually approve or deny the actual license that is within the state jurisdiction. However, the local municipality is required to submit a resolution in whether they support or not support this particular applicant. So, but we do not have any actual determination authority here. However, I think I can let the board know and the public know as well that this applicant has submitted all the necessary documentation and have paid all appropriate fees associated with this transfer, and the clerk's office is bringing it forward because they are in compliance with all of our requirements from the clerk's office. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a motion by Clerk Barry, supported by Trustee Anderson, to approve item 10B. If you would, please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Item 10C.
Item 10C is to approve facilities expenditures related to United Way Southeast Michigan's Summer Discovery Grant Program in an amount not to exceed $67,594.71.
So moved.
Motion by Trustee Joseph, supported by Clerk Barry. Mr. Sant.
Good evening. Within your package, you got a more detailed breakdown than the presentation I'm about to give. I just wanted to give a quick breakdown of what these expenses are and why. So, Amanda, if you go to the slide. So these, after summer camp, thankfully decided to come into the community center. We had some reviews with our internal teams, both with public safety, looking at safety and security issues in regards to having over 200 kids at the community center over the summer. Even though it was prepped as a school, there were some upgrades that we pointed out that we wanted to put in place. Now, just before I cover all these upgrades will be covered by the summer camp fund. So they won't be coming out of general fund or any other expenses. They're covered within that budget, and that is broke down in your package. But these are some of the things that we're going to do with the money that's proposed. We're going to increase the security cameras. We're going to rewire the existing PA system just because there's some broken spots that we want to fix. We're going to install a couple door readers, add some outside security blocks just along the fence line and by the front doors. We're going to install a secondary gate so people can't drive around the back of the building by the playscape area where the young kids will be. In regards to custodial services, we're going to add a contract with a full-time janitorial company because right now we're doing it in-house, but you put 200 kids in that building every day, all week long. We're going to add a cleaning service. We're also going to add carpet cleaning and some other minor cleaning services. And then for classroom comfort, we wanted to do a few lighting upgrades. And then we have 200 students coming, so we don't have 200 desks. It was great. We had the ability to pair up with Anchor Bay. They have extra desks, so we're actually hiring a moving company to pick those desks up and bring them to our facility. So that's one of the expenses you see. This is a breakdown of cost for each one of those expenses, totaling $67,594.71, which, like I said, does come out of our proceeds from summer camp.
Just say that again. This comes from?
It does. And that's broken down in your package. It does come down. I can break down the expenses for you.
No, it just comes from the summer camp
It
fund.
does. It does not a dollar, and there's still revenue in the summer camp fund even after these expenses.
Thank you.
Yes.
Questions from the board? Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, just wanted to, probably should have added it in my presentation earlier, the United Way grant that afforded 700 campers, 200 at our facility and another 500 at Acre Bay, is officially booked. They have exceeded capacity already and gone back to the funding source for additional revenue to accommodate additional campers. There is a wait list, and Parks and Rec staff are encouraging parents who might be still interested to get on that wait list because, you know, things happen. But I think the top to bottom review of what 200 kids in that building will look like, I think it's wise to get out in front of not only the security issues, the cleaning issues, the potential for, you know, colds and flus and any kind of virus to spread through without, you know, taking a look at our janitorial services is good. And I appreciate the extra sort of comfort that parents can take in knowing that the township is on top of vulnerability points. So the added gate to, you know, deter traffic and cars from entering kids' play area is just great leadership on your part, and the coordination with our Parks and Rec staff is really good. And I just wanted to share also the comments from the seniors last night about not only the campers but the Head Start, you know, in the building. The amount of work that's done by our staff to make sure that we don't have, or we limit as best as possible, classroom changes, kids going from the classroom to the gym, are sort of really gone over in terms of the scheduling to make sure that they don't conflict with high traffic points that the seniors may have. So programming that involves a seniors aerobics class. We don't have situations where those two populations are trying to traverse the building at the same time. And there's a lot of logistics that go into this. And these improvements and enhancements really just do add to the experience. I think this kind of work is the reason that United Way gave us the grant, that they awarded us the grant because of the seriousness that we take with the care of our campers. So this is just great work on your part, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Josh, two quick questions. And I'll again reiterate, this is a $400,000 grant, this part to take care of these 200 children during this camp. And the $67,000 worth of improvements that we will get to our community building will come out of that grant versus the general fund. That's the first part.
Yes, correct.
And the other question I have is, I know that there's still at times education going on in the building. Trustee Joseph mentioned senior citizens going back and forth, and these probably school-age kids. Will these gating, the gates that go up there, will they provide any segregation between the students and the senior citizens or the public?
Yes, and we've like all events we have, all of us have had a lot of conversations logistically how to move people around. Like we've developed some really good plans, especially Michelle leading the charge on the programming side, where you have kids in one area of the building and then seniors in another, and they kind of switch throughout the day. So there will be some overlap, but you know, it's a good problem to have with the building we have, that we're going to have that many people in the building. But we have put a lot of thought into that, the programming and the way people move through the building. And from our end, making sure that every box is checked, that those facilities are safe and, you know, clean. And when we plan an event like Bassmaster and all the others, we're really fortunate that we got a really good team that really cares about the details. So we go over and over these details. Now, will there be some bleed over? Yes, but we will address it as we go. Having 200 kids in that building in the summer is going to be exciting, but it's also going to be a lot of work, especially sharing space with the seniors. The seniors are getting really comfortable using all those lockers that they enjoy so much. They each have their own locker with their names on it. So the kids are going to be on the other side of the building and seniors will be on one side. But we're going to try to keep that crossing to a limit.
And there'll be a degree of, well, as I mentioned, there will be some type of physical barrier to keep the kids and the adults separated during this time, correct? I know Anchor Bay should be concerned of that.
Yes.
Any further questions from the board? I have a motion by trustee Joseph, supported by clerk Barry, to approve item 10C. If you would please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Thank you, Josh. Item 10D.
Item 10D is a request to approve a special event application from the Building Bridges Summer Camp of Cherokee Elementary School for use of Pavilion A at Brandenburg Park on July 28th, 2026, and waive the pavilion rental fee of $300.
Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Trustee Joseph, supported by trustee Vosberg. Ms. Vanderson.
This was a special event application. They asked for, to come to the township board and waive the fees. I do not see a representative in the audience this evening, so what you have in front of you is the information that we have for the event.
Discussion from board, question from board. I think we did this group last year. Is it the same? I didn't look it up, but it is the same group. Yeah. Questions from the board? I have a motion by trustee Joseph, supported by trustee Vosberg, to approve item 10D. If you would please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 10E.
Item 10E is the approval for Supervisor Bradley Kirsten to sign a letter of agreement between Chesterfield Township and Macomb County to provide space for the operation of Head Start classrooms at the Chesterfield Community Center from September 1, 2026 through August 31st, 2027, with total revenue to Chesterfield Township in the amount of $25,210.
Supervisor Kirsten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support? Support. Trustee Joseph?
Sure, happy to speak to this one. Our partnership here and our use of space in the community center with the Head Start program has been one of the most successful partnerships we've had. They've done an incredible job of utilizing the space, using only what they need, very little impact to what we do, and the best impact to the community. And so in years past, we have had the one-year rental of the space. This would continue what they had last year. So same number of classrooms, 3 classrooms, and 1 additional classroom of space for their teacher lounge and extra storage for the partnership. Again, nothing but positive things for us to say about it. We do have Sarah Bissa from the program that's here in the audience. If she wants to say a couple words, that would be welcome.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Bissa. I'm the program manager for the Head Start program for Macomb County. I just wanted to thank you very much for the partnership. We have, for those of you who don't know, the Head Start program is a federally funded preschool program for income eligible families in Macomb County. We currently have 38 classrooms across all of Macomb County, with 3 of them being at the Chesterfield Community Center, totaling 51 children. We are currently fully enrolled and we carry a very strong wait list for this location. We are requesting the same 3 classrooms and the same letter of agreement moving forward for the upcoming school year. And again, I just wanted to thank you very much for this opportunity to continue our partnership for the upcoming school year.
Thank you. Any questions for the board? Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. We had when we initially sort of adopted you, when you came over from Anchor Bay, there was some concern about the integration of seniors and preschool students in the same space and how that would work. We also had some concerns about traffic and parking and the handicap spots closest to the building and bus routes and all of that. We, of course, we approved, and the continuation of the lease is something that I enthusiastically support this year. Again, we heard from individuals that think that we should profit from low-income children who would not have this opportunity, that somehow we should make money on them and maybe charge them or their parents. I don't know how we would do that, because they're
We're not able to.
the reason that they qualify for the Head Start is because of their, financial difficulties. No, I understand that the agenda, and I don't want you to take offense or anybody from your team to take offense. These individuals just hurl insults at us. This is an opportunity to hurl insults. They don't care if there are special needs kids from Cherokee Elementary or preschoolers from, your
That are low income with very high risk factors.
yeah, that's again, it's been a blessing to have a facility in our community that can accommodate these children. And the feedback that we had last night from our seniors, and I was concerned. I'm on the senior advisory committee, and I asked them directly, are there any concerns with this agenda item? And the feedback was no, absolutely not. That the attention to detail that your staff provide for those children, even so much as this issue came up, when the seniors and not the members of the board that were present last night, they were sort of spokespersons for the greater group. That some of our seniors, it really is everything that they can muster to just physically navigate the building. That they're not entirely. They just need to be sure-footed as they're making their way down the hallway.
Absolutely.
And sometimes when there are peak usage and kids are moving, the Head Start kids are always very, very mindful of not, running through the hallways like pirates. And, I don't know how to describe it, but she said they're little kids, and some of them are really just sort of very focused, and some are very excited. And some of our seniors get a little bit nervous because a little bump could cause them to maybe lose their footing. And as one of our board members put, you fall at 70, 80 years old, and you could have, problems. And so this was a concern, and it's not a concern with your students. Your staff does such a great job of making sure that our seniors are respected, and there's great care. They really do enjoy, the waves and the feedback from the kids. It's really been just sort of epitomizes what you would envision a community center to be. That it is a true community where we have preschool students and seniors sharing the same space, and we are able to accommodate you for a reasonable contract. Your federal grant is not unlimited, and you really do a great job of stretching those resources. So the rent that you pay is fair, and it's mutually beneficial. So I just kudos to your staff and your students, and I'm very proud to see them using that space, and I don't lose any sleep over not taxing them a little bit more or charging them a little bit more, as some of our clueless friends have pointed out that we should be doing. So thank you for all your work.
Thank you very much. We very much appreciate the partnership.
Just to follow up, Mr. Scott, I was texting him back and forth, and he asked if there was anything he could address, and to Dave's point, there's nothing, it's all good. So I appreciate it.
Thank you
Clerk
so
Berry.
much.
Thank you. I actually was going to ask an additional question because that is something that we've heard the last couple of years. There's concerns about, is this covering our costs and so on and so forth. Can you just, for those who are interested in this issue, just explain a little bit of how you come up with the number of the 25,210? That might be helpful for people to understand.
We play that extra cleaning contract too, so that doesn't come out of the 25,000.
Sure.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Yeah, either way. So the number that we arrive at, it's a per square foot for the classroom usage. They have 4 classrooms of space, even though only 3 of them have the students in them. They're still paying for those 4 rooms so that they can have them exclusively for the Head Start program. It's $5 per square foot and for the length of time that they have it. In addition to that, they also pay a gymnasium cost. And so they have reserved use time of the gymnasium that works around our programming. They're very flexible around the programs that we are able to offer to the community. And they use the space in that time, playground space as well, but gymnasium space is there. There may be an additional cleaning fee that's offered as well from Head Start.
Thank you.
Trustee Vosberg.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. And I'm assuming that there's no conflict in use of space for any summer programming that we might have and what the Head Start students need.
Correct,
Right.
yep. Head Start only runs for the school year, so students are in session from, I believe it's September when they start, until June, the 1st of June.
Yeah, and
So
even though the contract runs for the full year, students aren't there during the time when the
Correct.
summer classes are going on.
Correct, yeah.
Right.
Students are not in the building, but it is storage of space, so they still have the use of it through August.
Thank you.
Any further questions? I have a motion by Supervisor Kirsten, supported by Trustee Joseph, to approve item 10E. If you would please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 10F.
Item 10F is to adopt Resolution 2026-16, number 1, and Resolution 2026-17, number 2, to set the date for a public hearing to be held on June 9th, 2026, for the purpose of hearing any objections to the petition of the installation and said improvements and the creation of Meldrum Road paving SAD Special Assessment District.
Is there a motion to approve? Trustee Vosberg, supported by Trustee Anderson. All yours, Carrie.
Good evening. An informational meeting was held with the residents on Meldrum on April 15th. We had passed out a petition for signatures. We passed the petition along to the person that was circulating the petition, and they returned the petition back to us with 55% going forward in approval. So we're setting the public hearing.
Questions from the board? No questions from the board? Seeing none? I have a motion by Trustee Vosberg, supported by Trustee Anderson, to approve item 10F. Would you please cast your vote? If you would, please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 10G.
Item 10G is to set a public hearing for June 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. to establish an Industrial Development District, IDD, to be known as the proposed district name 21 Mile Industrial Number 35, which was received from applicant Chesterfield 5 LLC.
Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to set a public hearing for June 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. as stated in the agenda item.
Motion by Clerk Barry, supported by Supervisor Kirsten. Discussion? We have a motion by Clerk Barry, supported by Supervisor Kirsten, to set the public hearing for June 9th, 2026. If you would, please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 10H.
Item 10H is to approve resolution number 2026-21 to revise the language of the 2026 Poverty Exemption Policy Guidelines and Asset Test.
Supervisor Kirsten will make a motion again to approve. Is there any support?
Second.
Clerk Barry? Carrie?
In your packet is a revised poverty application. The original poverty application was adopted by the board back in January. I am now requesting that the board re-adopt the updated poverty application with the revised language of the asset test that was requested per our recent assessing audit.
The language was just very simple and minor to get into compliance with the audit review, correct?
Going forward so that the Board of Review can approve the applicants, they can approve them going forward just by removing the 2 sentences that were in our asset test in the application.
Thank
So it
you.
was 2 minor provisions.
Questions from the board? I have a motion by Supervisor Kirsten, supported by Clerk Berry, to approve item 10H. If you would, please cast your vote. Item passes 6-0. Item 10I.
Item 10I is to adopt proclamation number 2026-06 to recognize and to proclaim May 17th through the 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week in Chesterfield Township in alignment with the annual observance sponsored by the American Public Works Association.
A motion to approve. Trustee Vosberg,
Second?
Clerk Berry, support. Discussion. Clerk Berry, you want to read the proclamation? When you're ready.
National Public Works Week proclamation, May 17th through 23rd, 2026, People, Purpose, Presence. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Chesterfield Township. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in Chesterfield Township to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding in the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week sponsored by the American Public Works Association and Canadian Public Works Association, be it now resolved that Brad Kirsten, Chesterfield Township Supervisor, hereby designate the week of May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agencies in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, and employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protecting our national health, safety, and advancing quality of life for all. Now, therefore, the Chesterfield Township Board of Trustees does hereby proclaim May 17th through May 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week.
Thank you. I have a motion by Trustee Vosberg, supported by Clerk Berry, to approve item 10I. If you would please cast your vote. Results will appear. Item passes 6-0. Item 10J.
Item 10J is to approve a recommendation by Public Services to award the construction of the Sutton Road Water Main Replacement Project 0042-2025 to Pamar Enterprises at a cost of $1,365,514 and a total project cost of $1,631,306.52.
Is there a motion to approve? Supervisor Kirsten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support? Trustee Vosberg. Mr. O'Connor?
Good evening. The Sutton Road water main was built in the late 50s. It's in the influence of the pavement. This project is to replace that water main outside of the pavement and reconnect all the water services and give new water services to the stop boxes.
Questions from the board? Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, Mr. Supervisor, Paymar has been a good partnership with the township for many years. I typically don't respond to the just very hurtful things that are just thrown up. Mr. Accavetti passed away, and the holding of the company has no relevance at all to our former supervisor, and any insinuation is just, it's just disgusting. But just want to clear that up. Mr. Accavetti was well-known in the industry. He was square dealing, and I don't think he was involved in any conflicts of inappropriate anything throughout his entire decades of work. He was a true gentleman, and despite my differences with the former supervisor, letting that one slide, you know, just seems beyond the pale. So to clear that up, there is no relationship that this board has with any family member of the former supervisor. Paymar is an exemplary company, and they've always done outstanding work, and Mr. Accavetti didn't deserve that. Neither the son nor the father, but goes with the territory when you, you know, when you have people like that come to the podium. They just say whatever they want, and it's a shame, but it carries no weight. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Joseph. You addressed it better than I was going to, so. I have a discussion from the board. Seeing no discussion for board, I have a motion by Supervisor Kirsten, supported by Trustee Vosberg, to approve item 10, I. Or J. Sorry, I moved the page. If you would please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 10K.
Item 10K is to authorize the Township Supervisor to execute professional engineering services agreements with the 4 engineering consultants as prepared and submitted by the Township Attorney.
Is there a motion to approve? So moved. Trustee Joseph. Trustee Vosberg. Mitch, do you want to go how, again, there were some comments made about this is a bid process and how we did it?
Yeah, and I'm gonna go back to 2018, which was the first time we did QBS for engineering consultants. At that time, we had 14 engineering companies submit proposals. We reviewed the proposals and interviewed 6 of those companies, and then we selected 3 based on that process, and then we agreed to enter into contracts with the 3 most qualified firms. So that is the QBS process, to pick the firms based on their qualifications, not necessarily a low bidder. We went through the process again, starting in 2025. This time there were only 8 submittals. We ranked the proposals, interviewed 5 of the companies, and are recommending entering into agreements with 4 of the companies that submitted. And it is 3 of the same, excuse me, SDA, OHM, AEW, which are currently under contract, and adding HRC is another engineering consultant we would recommend going under contract with. And the QBS process, the reason you select the most qualified engineer, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Usually, let's say a job is $1 million construction contract. The engineering fee is, let's say, 10% of that. But it's important to get that 10%, that design right. Otherwise, you could be misspending $1 million. So you want to make sure that you get a qualified firm designing and preparing the bidding documents. If you get a poor design, you get a poor construction project. Poor usually meaning more expensive. So that is the intent, to review and select the most qualified engineering firms, as opposed to just going with the lowest price.
Understood. Questions from the board? Trustee Joseph?
Yeah, Mitch, this goes back, Trustee Anderson and I were, well, as you talk about some of the older practices, we had AEW, and AEW was our contract engineer, in essence. And so big company and capable of doing multiple, engineering projects, but the QBS process to bring in, now we have 4, is the bid process. So the insinuation that nothing gets bid out, again, comes from the same guy that wants us to charge underprivileged, poverty kids. So you can't make it up, but the bid process is exactly what the QBS team has been working on for months, and that is to get a stable of engineering firms. Each has their own specialty. So underground engineering, soil configuration problems, you name it. We have a stable of qualified bidders that we've settled on that now for every project, especially though projects that are urgent in nature, to undergo a full bid process for those kinds of projects. They jeopardize quality of life issues when you're dealing with sewer main issues, water main issues. These things you have to have on the ready an engineering firm that's familiar with the township, that understands where our underground assets are, and kind of can hit the ground running. You can't do a cold bid process in the middle of an urgent matter. So part of being effective leaders is anticipating emergencies. They happen. And so to have 4 engineering firms on the ready that have been very, very deeply vetted and by the QBS team is exactly an effective sort of strategy. I'm glad that AEW is still involved with our township, but I'm also happy that they're not a sole source engineering firm. We have 3 others in addition to AEW, and I think the residents are well cared for in that configuration. So thanks to the QBS committee, because this is a pretty exhausting project. And I'm glad that you're an engineer by trade. So to have you sitting on the QBS team and leading the way is helpful. So thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, sir. Questions? Anything? Trustee Gosford? No? I have a motion by Trustee Joseph, supported by Trustee Gosford, to approve item 10K. If you would please cast your vote. Results will appear once all votes are cast. Item passes 6-0. Item 10L.
Item 10L is to approve a recommendation by Public Services to partner with Macomb County Department of Roads 2026 Limestone Program to improve 2.65 miles of gravel road within Chesterfield Township. The match will be 10% of the total project cost in the amount of $27,224.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Clerk Berry, supported by Trustee Anderson. Go ahead, Mitch.
This is the county's annual program. They solicit the townships in the area to submit roads that we would like re-gravelled. We coordinate with the local county maintenance department and selected these roads. There is a map in your packet. It kind of gives the history of, we started the program in 2019. Every year is a different color code, 2026. This is this year's recommended locations.
I was going to see if she can pull them
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It is a nice graphic.
Hey, no? Okay. Sorry. We're getting there.
Is it coming up? Okay.
No map? I'm good with
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. Again, the map is in the packet. It does show the history of where we gravelled over the last 6 or 7 years.
Discussion from the board, questions for Mitch? I have a motion by Clerk Berry, supported by Trustee Anderson, to approve item 10L. If you would please cast your vote. Oh, there it is.
The much talked
map.
about map, yeah.
Thanks, Amanda. Item passes 6-0. Item 10M.
Item 10M is to approve a recommendation from Public Services to authorize Supervisor Kirsten to sign the annual agreement with the Macomb County Department of Roads to participate in the 2026 Dust Control Brine Program for county roads in Chesterfield Township.
Supervisor Kirsten will make a motion to approve. Is there any support?
Support.
Clerk Berry. Again, Mitch, go ahead.
Again, this is a county annual program for dust control. There's another map associated with it. This agreement covers 2 applications of the brine for the dust control that the county will pay for. If we want to do a 3rd application, we would have to pay for it, and we would come back in front of the board and ask the board to move forward with that.
Questions from the board? I have a motion by Supervisor Kirsten, supported by Clerk Berry, to approve item 10M. If you would please cast your vote. Item passes 6-0. Thank you, Mitch. Item 11, addendums, there are none. Item 12, public comments. There is a 3-minute time limit. Public comments is open. It's your time. If you would please state your name, not required, just so we can keep track. Mic is open.
All right, I just wanted to start with Hinks Point to item C. I'd like to know if the partition wall is still up, segregating the kids from when it was still a school. And 10F, I'd like it clarified on the document. It says Meldrum Road. All of the addresses in there say Meldrum Street, so I just didn't know that's a private road, if that could be updated. MCL 691.1417, which came from Public Act 22-2 of 2001, gives townships general immunity for any sewage backup claims. I'm sure everyone on this board knew about this law when I brought my comments to this podium last board meeting, which I believe is why when Supervisor Kirsten said at the last meeting, if we screwed up, we'll take care of it, Trustee Vosberg gasped and scoffed. I'm glad that you find my situation laughable, or maybe you were just laughing because you knew the supervisor's statement would never come to fruition because the township is covered by this immunity coverage. It's disgusting to me as a homeowner. We are expected to maintain our homes and systems. If we didn't, it would be easy for the township to point to the resident and say, well, that's your fault. But governmental agencies don't have to maintain their systems. Well, it wasn't my system. I've paid thousands of dollars to make sure it's not my problem. But what we do know is these old systems are not maintained and have gone without proper upkeep. I'd like to also correct the record of the investigation findings this township was quick to make a Facebook post about the following morning after the sewage flooded my basement. A post was quickly made in a cute brochure about grease and baby wipes being the culprits to why this township system failed. I believe it's appropriate to remove that false post and reflect the accurate cause. Just so everyone knows, it wasn't baby wipes or grease that caused this failure. The obstruction was asphalt and stone. So someone came in the dark of night, truck bed full of extra asphalt and stone, opened a manhole cover and poured it into the township's lines. That's what they were saying. Well, that's the reason they're denying my claim. Or could it be plausible that something else is failing? Is there something that is breaking down and clogging this system? It does seem it took causing my home $35,000 in damages to figure it out. So I'm glad I could save the township that price tag as it exceeds the $5,000 cap for board approval. I'd like to also add how concerning that Tokyo Marine, the entity providing township's liability coverage, is the same party responsible for investigation and final determination of claims. Either way, my family's been dragged for over a month waiting for a denied claim everyone on this board knew was coming because government immunity.
James Locke. I'd like to thank Trustee Joseph for spending so much time this evening clarifying the things that I spoke about. You know, gives transparency to this board. you know? So many times you bring up items in that, and they're just items, and everybody, just like tonight, hey, we had a perfect score, 6-0 all the way through. Trustee Joseph took the time to explain why we do some things, why we have different tribute to different charities that we bring in. I'm glad he is able to do that, take the time. Because I didn't, with 3 minutes, I didn't have the time to tell the public about that. Your explanation was very good. Don't let this go to your head. We're still not friends. Good night.
John Speaka, Chesterfield Township. I'd like to say the Academy Award at the last meeting and tonight's meeting goes to Mr. Joseph. You should have went into acting. When I asked a question about Palmer, it was in reference to the former supervisor, not his dad. But nice way of trying to twist the facts. Mr. Accavetti is very knowledgeable and a very smart individual, so I was wondering if that contract, if he was going to be in charge of that. But nice trying to twist the truth. But that's, what do you expect from a tin can? My question is, what was the total dollar amount for the budget amendments made tonight? Not a single board member mentioned the total amount. So you either voted for something that you had no clue about, or you intentionally hid the dollar amount from the residents. And is it safe to have our kids and seniors in the community center? Because isn't that building filled with lead and asbestos? At the last board meeting, I had 2 board members hailing accusations at one board member, Cindy Berry, that wasn't present. I felt that was a cheap shot. Now the board member is present. I'd like you guys to ask her what you said at the last board meeting. And then I have a question for Trustee Hornberger. Is it true on last year, the residents
Mr.
paid
Speaker, you got to address the
20?
chair.
Is it true that the residents paid you $25,000 last year? I believe the salary is
Mr. Speaker, Mr.
yeah, it's
Speaker.
$25,000.
Mr.
So
Speaker,
can you
Mr.
answer
Speaker.
that? I appreciate it. And is there a reason why
address
the
me.
TV screen behind you is not on so
Are you
that the
kidding me?
residents
Are you
could see
serious?
that without turning your head?
Are you serious?
And then when are we going to have an open house for the residents of the township with all the money that we spent with our hard-earned tax dollars? We had an open house at the police, which is great. We've had other open houses, but why have we not had an open house here to show the residents on where all their money went and what it went to? So I've yet to hear that. But yeah, if you could answer that, I believe, Pam, I think we paid you, no, I don't think I know, we paid you $25,000 last year. And I'm just wondering how on a $13,000 salary, they must have been the stipends is the only thing that I can think of that were added in. Pay to play.
Good evening. My name is Josh Brandt, and I live here in Chesterfield Township. Before anything else, I want to say this. I love this community. My wife and I are raising our family here because we believe this is a good place filled with good people. Like many fathers and husbands in this township, I work hard every single day to provide for my family. I leave early, come home tired, and do everything I can to stay ahead. But lately, it feels like no matter how hard many of us work, we're still falling behind. Groceries, utilities, insurance costs, everything's going up. Taxes are going up. And families who are doing everything right are stretched thinner than ever before. I know I'm not the only one feeling that pressure. There are families in this township quietly carrying burdens no one sees. Parents are skipping things for themselves so their kids can have what they need. Young couples wonder if they'll ever truly get ahead. Seniors praying their savings last another year. These aren't irresponsible people. These are our neighbors. These are the people who coach our Little League teams, volunteer at church events, shovel sidewalks for elderly neighbors, and take pride in their home and community. That's why I'm here tonight, not to complain, but to be part of the solution. Growing up, my father taught me something simple: reward good behavior and punish bad behavior. That is a simple principle that shaped me as a man, and it's one rooted deeply in biblical values. When people do the right thing, we should encourage it, not make life harder for them. Now, with that in mind, I'd like to propose an idea centered around rewarding responsible homeowners in ways that strengthen both our residents and our township. Since property taxes are a reality for all of us, unfortunately, why not incentivize some early payment options? Homeowners who pay ahead of time could receive a discount like 20% off for paying 2 months early, 10% off for paying 1 month early, something like that. Families save money during difficult times, while the township benefits from improved cash flow, fewer collection issues, and more predictable budgeting. That's not charity, that's a smart partnership between the township and the people who support it. I understand there may be concerns about revenue, and I respect that balancing a budget is not easy. But I also believe we have to start looking at families not as revenue sources, but as the foundation of this community. Strong families build strong neighborhoods. Strong neighborhoods will build a strong township. I bring this idea forward not simply as a suggestion, but as a practical solution worth serious consideration, because at the end of the day, every policy we pass affects people. Sorry. Affects every policy we pass affects real people, real families sitting around kitchen tables tonight trying to figure out how to make it one more month. I believe we have an opportunity to lead with wisdom, passion, and common sense, to show residents that this township just doesn't collect from them, it stands with them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further comments from the public?
Adam Bestcheck, 47468 Bayside Circle West. I guess I just want to say thank you to the board tonight for some of the decisions you made, particularly around the way of the children's programs. That was really good to hear, good to see. I don't envy your positions. I understand, I think, conceptually what you guys are up against. You know, the residents generate money. You're tasked with spending it accordingly and, you know, keeping the community running in an efficient manner. And I'm sure that's very difficult in a variety of ways that I don't understand. And probably many of us don't understand, don't even have the insight to understand. But, you know, I appreciate the goodness, the good things you've done here tonight. You know, I just looked up the word community on the internet to get a definition of it, and it's AI generated, but I think it captures it quite nicely. A community is a group of people or living things that share common characteristics, interests, location, or values, creating a sense of belonging or interdependence. And I think you've made a very good show of that tonight, so thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Any further comments from the public? I'll bring it back up to the board. Start up here tonight. Trustee Anderson.
Nobody alphabet, always number one. I had a few remarks to say tonight, and I'm going to. Ms. Ross, I hope that you get some resolution on what you're working through. Mr. Branton, I appreciate your remarks, and our last speaker, I didn't catch your name, but three individuals bring to the board something that are issues, not grenade throwing. I just want to acknowledge that. Google, you go to Google and you look at Henry Ford II. He had a statement, a quote: "Never complain, never explain." It's his philosophy, emphasizing action over excuses. His grandfather, Henry Ford, founder of Ford Motors, had a similar quote, specifically, "Don't find fault, find a remedy." Both quotes highlight a focus on finding solutions and taking the initiative rather than dwelling on problems. Good night.
Trustee Joseph.
And we've talked about this many times, and the don't complain, don't explain. The concern that I have with not challenging some of these very dim-witted things that are said is I realize that when that individual gets to the podium, anybody who's watching, their eyes just collectively roll. What's this guy going to say tonight? But when you say things that are just dangerous, the building engineers at the community center detailed the asbestos concerns and the abatement policies that must be adhered to should there be construction. There is no environmental concerns in this building. So anybody who knows anything knows that a building built in that year has lead and it has asbestos. If you're going to renovate the building, you must have a plan for asbestos abatement. It's intact, it's monitored. I don't know if you know this or if you've convinced yourself by repeating the same dumb things over and over. I noticed when you get to the podium, this asbestos-laden lead building, you pride yourself on being an earworm. Like, yeah, I get into people's heads, you know. It's true, you do. And I think about you, well, every trash day I think of you. And every time that you come to the podium, your conflicting statements, you know, you carry a sign, most recently they've been spelled correctly, which is good. You compliment the clerk, you talk about a tax. The conference that I was referencing, I didn't see any clerks' conferences. This wasn't a clerks' conference. It was as she said, a conference on good governance and effective AI strategies. And this concept of being able to walk before you can run is something that should be adhered to, because we have a youth center filled to the brim with dusty boxes that should have been imaged probably a decade ago. Trustee Hornberger is trying to find out why we spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on Laserfish, and the good governance that we heard about at this conference. You have the attendee to the conference not even able to log into their own BSNA to document and understand what's happening with the existing, yet you come to the podium and you say, great job, as if that wasn't unnecessary spending to travel and send ambassadors to another state to learn about technology that we're not ready for. That's the presentation. We can't implement it because that thousands of dollars went to Chicago, and that's great, because that individual, what, feeds you propaganda on Trustee Hornberger? Her stipends? You're an oxygen bandit. You really are as Trustee Anderson said, take a page out of Mr. Branton's way to address the board. He comes at it from a clear understanding of he's a community family guy first, and he has suggestions about how to make this community stronger. Take a page out of that. You've been coming here for years. You get worse and worse every year with your ridiculousness. Mr. Branton, your points, I like the concept. How can we make the township more affordable? It's something that everybody on this board that decided to run wanted to strengthen. That's the reason that we do this. One of your suggestions I think might be challenging, just because the way that the tax structure is set up, it's not left with local municipalities. So the offering of a reduction in prepaying, I don't know that but it is worth a conversation with those who do know. And I'd like to talk to maybe our township attorney. I'm hopeful that our treasurer would be able to provide some insight onto that. There are restrictions on how we collect that, but your overall point was brilliantly made. And I appreciate that you're here and you took the time to write out your statement and bring forward ideas that you think strengthen your community. On the idea of taxation, it's not something that any of us really like to do. And the proposal for the millage on the Parks and Rec is seen as a way to provide the residents with more low-cost programming. I realize that it's a mill, and there are a lot of people who say, just stop the taxation, stop the taxation. But we have, as I pointed out in my opening comments, we have currently 14 properties in the township that I think are vastly underutilized, and they don't. The Parks and Rec director has coined the phrase "good today, better tomorrow." That's the idea behind the millage, and these visioning sessions. I would strongly encourage you to come to one of those and talk about areas that you think your family could benefit from, parked enhancements, and share with some of your passion with the Visioning Center. You may encounter a very dim bulb that wants to talk about asbestos-laden lead buildings. They don't know what they're talking about. His buddy may show up and say that there's asbestos floating in the dandelions over at the Veterans Field. He doesn't know what he's talking about, but we do have experts there that can really take some of your ideas and bring them to the greater good, as was defined by a community of individuals with shared values. That's really what it's about. That's really what it's about. In closing, Ms. Ross, I'm very sorry. I would never have nodded along with the concept of Mr. Kirsten's comments like, hey, if we screwed it up, we're going to try to make it right. It wasn't an we weren't really, I wasn't. I can speak for myself, and I know Trustee Anderson's position, especially as it relates to you. There would be no way that we would nod along knowing that, oh, she's not going to get any relief from us. It just wasn't something that we would ever participate in. And I am going to do a little bit more digging and find out what happened there, because a $35,000 hardship, when it sounds like you did nothing wrong, is really it's just rough all the way around. So again, very sorry, and would never participate in a bag over the head, punch in the stomach routine where we're acknowledging a problem and then you not get relief. Just wouldn't do that to you. And thank you. Mr. Supervisor, I hope to see everybody out at the police open house this Saturday. I was almost late to the meeting because I was making snow cone syrup. Mr. Locke, I will forward you one. Speaker, you don't get anything. Just for the record.
Trustee Hornberger?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I do have a question, or several questions, I guess. Wondering when the records request that I sent to you and that you forwarded to the clerk is going to be fulfilled. Originally, those requests were FOIA requests, and then I was told that it would be better for me to rescind those FOIA requests, which I did, and at the time I was told that the records were ready. To rescind the FOIA requests and to request the material as an elected official of the township, which I did, and I still have not received those records. So I'm wondering when I will have those, and so that we can look forward. And then I would like to talk to you, discuss with you, putting a referendum on the agenda to prohibit any shredding of any documents until we can take a deep dive into the Laserfish issue. Thank you.
So, yep, I'll answer real quick to your question. There is an email after, again, confirming your position. You're absolutely right. I'm not the record keeper. And I've made it very clear that you have unfettered access to all records and any records at your demand. So that is through the clerk's office, clarified with legal counsel. And as far as I'm concerned, you have, whenever you want to come in and get them.
So correct. I was told originally when the records were FOIA that they were ready. And now suddenly, now that they've been requested as an elected official, I've received nothing. So I'm wondering why that is.
I'll defer to the clerk there. You have unfettered access with two exceptions: healthcare records and law enforcement records.
Well, we do have a big shred day, so you might want to act.
I'll be happy to answer it during my comments.
Your second question on the referendum, it's just a simple agenda item that we can put on there. And I think Karen or the clerk can accommodate that request too.
Thank you.
Trustee Vosberg?
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. I'd like to thank Precision Landscaping, the company that does lawn mowing and care for our facilities. And they donated a blue spruce tree and planted it in the historic village near the log cabin. And 100% at their cost for the tree and for all the installation. And they took over an hour and a half today for them to install it, and it looks beautiful. So thank you to them.
Clerk Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Any records that the clerk holds on our retention schedule are provided immediately. Any other records that we don't hold are provided by the department head. So that's who you want to give them. If I have them, you've got them. But if they're in one of the other departments and they've got them, then the request needs to be made to the department head because they are the ones responsible for the records on their retention schedule. I can provide a copy of that. I think the FOIA coordinator did provide a copy of the retention schedule for you so you can see who would have those records that you're looking for. But they work at the direction of the supervisor. So, but I have all the ones from the clerk's department.
Drag me into this.
I can't, my point is I can't,
apologize.
thank you. I appreciate that. My point is that I cannot direct one of the department heads. So that direction can't come from me. But I certainly have anything that I have on our schedule. And if for some reason you haven't been provided anything on our schedule, I will find out why, because there's no reason why you should not have those. Secondly, one of the things that I think that, and by the way, I really appreciated your comments, Josh. I really appreciated that. That was great. And I'll tell you why I liked them. It was at least trying to think outside the box, even though you didn't know about tax collection, how that works, trying to think outside the box. I don't normally address people from the dais, but I think you deserve credit for such a well-presented position. One of the things that the board can do, that we have full authority to do, is we can rescind the 1% fee that we assessed to all the taxpayers. That would be $1 million tax reduction for all of the taxpayers. It's about $1 million. We passed it. We can revoke that at any time. So that might be something that the board would want to consider. I would certainly support that, as I voted against the 1%, adding the 1% fee to begin with. So that's something that can be done. It can be done at the very next meeting if we choose to. The second thing is regarding our records that are currently being held over at the Records Center, I'll call it that. It's where we're keeping all of our records now. We have made a tremendous amount of progress there. And one of the things, and this kind of goes again to instead of sending people another bill for more spending, we need to do things better. It's not that you should be paying more, it's that we should be doing better. And one of the things that we're doing in the clerk's department is taking a concerted effort to go through all of the records, even if they're not on our schedule, if they're on another department's schedule, but for whatever reason, they haven't properly managed those records. We're literally taking custody of that and sorting all of those records. What benefit is there? Well, with the over 200% increase in FOIA requests over the last couple of years. It allows us to find records more quickly. It allows us to spend less time, less money, less resources in fulfilling FOIA requests, for example. So we are trying to do it better. And by doing it better, we can make better use of resources, and we can also, at the end of the day, be able to save on our bottom line. Speaking of the bottom line, Trustee Joseph, you'll be very happy to know that not one penny for that conference is coming out of the township coffers. I paid for that all out of my own, and you're right, it was a couple $1,000s, but I paid for it myself. And the reason I paid for it, to be quite honest with you, is because I believe it's important that we are aware of what the future holds, because too often I find that our decisions are very reactionary, they're very reactive, they're not proactive. By getting familiar with what the future of our governance management looks like, that allows us to be ahead of the game. And one of the other benefits, and the reason why I go to these conferences when I can, and fortunately May is a very popular conference month, one of the reasons I go there is I find out what other communities similarly situated to Chesterfield are doing better, so that I can take that information, bring it back here and implement it. And I was able to find that out also. I was able to find out that there is a community here in Michigan that uses all of the same platforms that we use, but they are able to process payroll twice as fast with 3 times the records to process. How do they do that? I was invited to review their process, to visit their facility, and to learn how, so that I could bring that back here. And if we can just do it better, and that's what we need to do, at the end of the day, that puts everyone in a better position financially as well as just from an operational perspective. So it's not an indictment on any individual here who does that function, but what it is it's an opportunity to get better. And I think that's what we all need to focus on, and that's what I'm focused on in the clerk's office and in any other capacity where I'm able to do it and I'm allowed to do it. I try to bring improvements and efficiencies. So that's just what I'm doing on my end, and I would be, again, Trustee Hornberger, I'd be happy to meet with you at any time for as long as you'd like to answer any of your questions. You haven't reached out to me yet, but I would extend the invitation to you to do that. And I'll make myself available anytime for you.
Okay, let's clear some things up from my perspective. You are the clerk and you are the record keeper of this township. All records fall under your purview. Number one, there is no retention schedule on any document in this township. We have over 300 township produced documents that no retention schedule that you have ever applied is on any document here. You follow a state schedule that is vague at best and wide-reaching, and you don't and have not trained any department head on any document retention, period. You have Laserfiche. Laserfiche is a system 12 years old in this township, over $700,000 invested at your direction, and your office does not even use it. Water and sewer uses a percentage of it, and building uses a percentage of it. It's still not functional. And in fact, I had to interject myself into your office practices to get Laserfiche even up and running and functional, where a staff member is now trying to get it functional and usable at some broad scope here in the township. I don't know where you keep blaming everybody else and department heads, but I will not have that. Do not blame department heads for your failure. Yes, you did. You said the department heads are not producing records in there. That is your purview, your responsibility. You were supposed to have, this should have been done and over with 12 years ago. Again, over 300 individual documents that this township has in individual departments, and there isn't a single township retention schedule or revision schedule that is printed on it. That is your responsibility. I'm glad you're focused on the upcoming technology. You haven't participated in anything. We just went to electronic time and attendance here. They were paper. We turned in paper time cards here. at the police department, we had electronic time and attendance for over 20 years. We were doing paper time cards here. Again, you're right, it's not you, you didn't do anything. So, and now you complain about how the time it takes. You didn't even publicly print time and attendance here until 6 months ago. But again, you blame everybody else. I'm not gonna have that. You're not gonna blame department heads or employees here for your failures. This is just wrong. This is absolutely wrong. Trustee Hornberger, the records are yours. You can have them anytime you want. You want to meet with a department head individually, please do. You have my permission, and the email reflected that, and legal counsel also backed that up. You have a right to any record that you want, barring the 2 exceptions. I did not want to do this. Mr. Locke, we are instituting best practices here, whether you like it or not, or whether you understand it or not. The Woodhill Group came in here, they're restructuring our finance department. That should have been done years ago, and it has. Mr. Brantley, thank you for your time and comments tonight. You're spot on. I think there is, was indicated, there's some difficulties with statutory requirements on taxes. Love to have a discussion with you. You would probably educate me on what that piece is. And we can, I'll make anybody available that you want. We can have that conversation. Adam, thanks again. I appreciate it. Community is it. Our charge here is to make this township the best that we can, period. I'm not in this for the fame. I'm not in this for the glory. I'm not in this for the money. And I don't think anybody else here is. Are there some operational functions that need to be addressed and cleaned up? Absolutely, 1,000%. I'm all ears. I'm not the smartest missile in the silo, never projected to be, but I love this township like you do and Mr. Brantley does and Christine does. We're here to make this place a wonderful place for people to enjoy. And again, no one wants to raise taxes, but the ask for the Parks and Rec millage is to do exactly that. We had over 600 acres of property unused in this township that had no vision, no planning, nothing. And we're bringing that around. Do we enjoy taking it to the residents and ask them to fund it? No. Don't want to raise taxes, don't want to raise fees on anybody. But like your home, we have to manage our budgets here, and we will do that in a public and transparent fashion, without question. I will not participate in anything less than that. And I'm open to any scrutiny that anybody wants to bring to this township. Ms. Ross, I'll reach out to you. Again, it's like healthcare. They reject you on the first time around. I don't know the details. That's why I asked you today. Give us an opportunity and we'll take a look at it. With that being said, I apologize for venting again. Kind of unnecessary, but necessary. There's no closed session tonight. Supervisor Kirsten will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Clerk Berry, all in favor?